Money, money, money.
Hey guys, it's Kristen, and today we're going to be talking about money. I find it fascinating, I find it weird, I find it terrible, and I find it great. So let's get into it. In this podcast, I'm going to be sharing with you how much money I make personally. I'm going to also talk about the fact that how the lifestyle that I live with the money that I make. And at first, you're going to feel inspired, and then you're going to feel a little horrified. I'm going to take you on a journey. Another thing is I want to break down certain myths and ideas that we have about money and how some of them are problematic. I'm going to discuss a lot of things because there's so much to say in regards to this topic. So let's first start with one thing, which is the notion. So let's break a little myth that exists about money, which is the idea that everyone can be rich. Everyone, if they want it hard enough, if they work hard enough, they can all be rich. And that's actually very inaccurate and also a very problematic opinion to have for multiple reasons. So we're going to break it down. So obviously, if you're not aware, probably some people are not aware of this, but we live on a planet with limited resources. So yeah, the idea that we can all be billionaires is not possible due to resources. So no matter how much money we can print, that doesn't mean that that money printed really reflects a certain amount of goods. So yeah. Another thing, just specifically money, I was struggling to sleep one night, having issues just about the world in general and how it works. And there was, I just had this thought, like, what if all the money that exists today on this planet, what if I added it all up? And, sorry, the audio got a little bit weird there, I think. But what if we added up all the money and then divided it by the number of people that exist in the world? And the number that I came up with, just exclusively money, not property, not assets, nothing else, just money, either in the bank or, money that exists. And it came down to 10,000, I think, dollars. Yeah, $10,000 pretty much on average per person. So if all the money was divided equally throughout humanity, we would all have $10,000. Now, obviously, a lot of people, including me, do not have $10,000 in the bank. And there's a lot of people out there that have billions in the bank, or I don't know. There's a lot of money that exists, obviously, illegally, so that's not calculated. I'm just talking about legal calculated money. And that kind of shook me a little bit, because if you think about it, that is a lot of money for some people, but also a very much not any money at all, especially for people that live an extremely wealthy lifestyle. $10,000 is just nothing to them. And that's quite fascinating. Personally, for me, $10,000 is just enough in the bank for me to live a comfortable life. It's obviously, and this whole concept, it has a lot of flaws in it, but I just thought it would be interesting to think about if money was equally divided, how much every person would have. And that's something to think about. Another kind of myth about money that that I think should be torn down is the idea that everyone has the ability to become rich. So regardless of resources, if everyone wants it and works hard enough, they can become rich. And I also very much disagree with that. I was just recently watching a video, what was it? The Cut, I think that's the channel, and it had two groups of people, poor versus millionaires, kind of talking about wealth. And this is something that I didn't hear covered by either of them. And it's very much not everyone has the opportunity to become rich or wealthy or even provide a decent quality of life for themselves. And a lot of people have this idea that poor people are poor because they're lazy, because they're not working hard enough. And I think that these specific people have never been presented with true hardship in their life, and they haven't really experienced what it means to be helpless, what it means to not have any opportunities at all. And not everyone is born into this world equal. There's a lot of issues that people face, like racism is one of the things that can hold you back in life. Being born with disabilities, or later in life getting some disability, that's obviously going to hold you back in the workforce from getting a job, from just doing basic tasks as well. Not that people with disabilities cannot do an equally great job as everyone else, but there is a stigma when it comes to employers. They're going to avoid hiring someone with a disability. So that is really what is holding them behind. And then there's just so many other issues. I mean, I do believe that gender also plays a part in job opportunities. Sometimes for women it gives them an advantage, but also sometimes it gives a disadvantage to women. So I do think gender plays a part, depending on the profession. There's just, I can't even think, but there's so many factors that play a part in someone's opportunity to really be able to provide for themselves. And then there's other things. There's just like unluckiness that can really hold someone's life behind. I mean, if you're born in a family where maybe not you, but one of your parents is incredibly ill, and that is really taking away all the funds from the family, and all the work that you do goes into taking care of that parent, or taking care of a sibling, or taking care of a child, you know? There's a lot of really unfortunate things that can happen to people that can really hold them behind. And another thing that we're not taking into consideration is IQ. And I know like IQ is not a perfect measure of intelligence, but just the fact that some people just are not as intelligent or as educated as everyone else, they have not a head start, a head back, I don't know how you call it, but they are behind from everyone else, and most likely they are not going to catch up to everyone else. And intelligence also plays a part with, like, if you are not born being as intelligent as everyone else, you might not come up with the entrepreneurial ideas that, you know, a lot of people that rise to success and fortune, you know, these people, they've used their intelligence to come up with an idea, with a product, with a service that someone else isn't providing. And they're using that as an opportunity to get into a market, to fill in a hole or a missing link, and to profit out of that. And, you know, a person that doesn't really have the IQ or hasn't been given, you know, the educational foundation to be able to come up with these ideas, that person is not going to be able to do it. I mean, where you're born, what family you're born into, that to me is the biggest factor on whether or not you're going to succeed in life. If you're born into a family that is very much struggling financially, that's struggling with illness, that has suffered from some kind of environmental disaster, you know, and depending on where on this planet you're born into, you know, you're going to have very different opportunities to elevate yourself to a better quality of life. And it kind of frustrates me a little bit how this is actually, what I'm saying is something that is controversial, and that a lot of people don't recognize this, and they're actually just completely under the impression that yes, everyone has the opportunity to become rich. And I'm like, have you not like taken a look at the world around you? Because not everyone was born as lucky as you are. Definitely not. I mean, and this is one of the reasons why I'm I'm always very grateful about everything I have because I know that I didn't earn the things that I had. I am just very, very lucky to be able to afford food for myself and have enough money to pay rent, to have a roof over myself. And also the fact that even if I didn't have the money to pay for a roof over myself, over my head, I have a family and a supportive system that is going to always act as like a safety net for me. So if I ever fail, I have a family behind me to support me, something that other people don't have. Also, another thing that I didn't mention is mental illness, and that can also hold you back exponentially to never being able to really provide yourself with a quality of life. There's so many different factors that can either contribute to you becoming successful financially and providing for yourself a good quality of life, and factors that can really be detrimental and negatively affect your opportunities to do that. And I hope more people become more open-minded to that as a concept and more compassionate towards our other human citizens that we're sharing this planet with. We're definitely not born equal. I mean, we are equal, but we're not born with equal opportunities. And yeah, that's one point that I wanted to make. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I can talk a little bit about myself and my financial situation. And yeah, let's get into that. So I make, drumroll please, I make under, what is it? Yeah, I make 4 figures a year. And that's not a lot of money. I recognize that. I make 4 figures, maybe 5 if I'm lucky. No, I don't think I make 5. No. So yeah, 4 figures a year. And in my opinion, I get to live a very wonderful, easy life, pretty much. I don't really stress out so much about money, only because I'm very vigilant on keeping track of my income and my expenses and making sure that I am covered, that I'm never getting into debt. And that's something really important for me. But I was also, I'm very lucky because I was raised to be very frugal and very careful with how I spend my money. My family never showered me with cash. Like, I wasn't given an allowance. I didn't have a trust fund or anything like that. So money was always something that I knew that I had to earn if I wanted it. And then through the various jobs that I've worked, I've realized that money is really hard to acquire. Like right after high school, I worked at Pull & Bear. That was my first job, and they hired me part-time, even though I requested full-time, because the minimum wage for part-time labor is lower, first of all. And yeah, they had me work part-time 7 hours a week, because 8 hours would then make it full-time and they would have to pay me more. What a great company, Inditex, isn't it? And then I worked there for like over the winter holidays. So Christmas and New Year's, I worked there for 2 months, and I checked my bank account and I had made 800 euros from working 7 hours a day. What was it? 5 days a week. Yeah, something like that. And I was making so little money. Like, I was calculating how much money I was making every day. So I knew that I couldn't really eat food during my break, because if I bought food, then I would have basically made nothing. So I think I was making about 14 euros every day, and food would cost 4 euros. And public transportation would cost another 3 euros to go and come back from work. So I would be, almost half my daily wage would have just been wasted away. So what I would do was I would ride on public transportation illegally, and then if ticket inspectors came on, I would just hop off the bus, and then I wouldn't eat food. I would just go to, like, there was a pizza, and I was working, the shop was in a mall, so I would go to this pizza place, and I would get like a bottle of juice thing that cost €1, and I would grab the free breadsticks, and I would eat that for my lunch break. Yeah, that's fun times. So yeah, I checked my bank account after those 2 months, and I saw I made €800 for 2 months of hard work. It was my first job, and I was really disappointed by that. I was like, this isn't worth it. I feel really exploited right now. And that's kind of the feeling that I got with almost every job that I've done. I've felt exploited, not because I'm a millennial that I think like I'm a special snowflake and I deserve special treatment, but because I used to be a very hardworking person and like the best employee, and I was taught to just be a good girl and to always give my best, and I had a very, very hard work ethic. So I felt like, oh my God, I've tried so much, I've worked so hard, and I don't feel rewarded from this. Screw you. So, but after that, I started college, so I didn't have time to work, and then the financial crisis had already hit, and my family wasn't doing that well financially, so I didn't feel good taking money from them, because they were like helping me financially through college. Not that I had to pay for it, it's free here in Greece, but they were paying for rent the first year, electricity, food, that kind of stuff, and I didn't feel comfortable doing that. So I moved back home and tried to go to college from home, but that was really far away. And then like a lot of events happened that I'm not going to get into right now that eventually led me to decide to go work as a flight attendant in Dubai. And that was something that I did to save up money. And that's another experience that I had where I realized, oh my God, making money is so freaking hard. And I've made an entire video about my experience working for Emirates, which wasn't that well received. And to this day, I still, I don't know why. I think a lot of people just had an issue with the fact that I should have been grateful for the money that I was making, and I should have been grateful for the experience. And even though I was grateful for the experience, I wasn't happy with the company and the way that they treated me, and I didn't feel like the money that I was being paid was enough for basically my life. I wasn't trading my time with this company. I was trading my life. I lived to work there. All I did was work, and when I wasn't working, I was so exhausted. Like, seriously, flight attending is an insanely hard job. So please be nice to your flight attendants. Please treat them with respect. And yeah, just don't push them, okay? Because they're going through a lot. It takes a toll on your body, this profession, and on your mind. And it was just something that was very hard for me to keep up with. And yeah, also the fact that I wasn't paid my last month's wage, that's slave labor. That's unacceptable. So I realized that, it's doing my best and giving my best to a company is not worth it because they are not providing me with their best wages. And if I'm not making, the money that I feel is fair for the amount of time that I'm giving someone, then I don't want to work there anymore. And this is something that I think is really important. Nothing is more valuable than your time. And whoever wants to make fun of us millennials for feeling entitled, I think, screw them. They're just people that don't value their time, people that think that they're on this earth just so they can work for someone else and be someone else's their little machine to help them make more money. Congratulations, you're a hard worker, you're helping a white dude make more money, a rich white dude make more money. Great, good job, be proud of yourself. No, I'm not here for that. at all. I'm not here to make any rich white dude richer. Or not white dude, just any dude, because most of the rich people are dudes, let's be real. But I'm not here to make a rich bitch richer either. Like, I don't want to make rich people any richer. And I don't want to give the most precious thing that I have, which is time. There's nothing more important that you have other than time, seriously. And I'm not willing to just give it away to anyone and to give it away to satisfy the capitalistic desires of just selfish, greedy people. You know what I mean? And yeah, and then after that job, I came back to Greece and I started working as a social media manager for a wedding dressmaking company. And again, I noticed the same thing. I just felt very exploited. I was basically used for everything: photography, video making, social media managing, receptionist, like everything. They thought like they could use me for anything, and they expected me to be able to just be great at everything. And I'm like, this is so messed up. I hate working here. Also, my boss, one of them was really nice, but the other one was just this sexist garbage person. And he would shout at us, at me and like the other women that were sewing and stuff. He would like scream, he would say really sexist things, he would shout and swear. And I was like, I'm so over this dude. I'm just gonna work here, give the minimum amount that I can, and just spend the rest of my time talking to friends on Facebook and like editing my own videos at work. Because I was like, if you're gonna be an asshole to me, I'm gonna be an asshole as well. And this is something that a lot of people, you know, they don't feel comfortable talking about being a bad employee. In my opinion, if your boss is a jerk, you have every right to be the worst employee ever. I don't know. That's just my opinion, but I think like the nastiest the person is, the worst treatment, like what you give, I'm sorry, I'm just word vomiting, but like what you give, you deserve to get back. And if someone isn't respecting me at my job, I'm not gonna respect them back. So I like had enough at some point, and we mutually kind of agreed that this isn't working out. And that's when I started my channel. And actually, I just, I don't think I even had 10,000 subscribers at that point. And I was like, you know what? If someone can pay me to work as their social media manager, I'm pretty sure I can manage my own social media and do a pretty damn good job with it and do something a lot more meaningful and something that makes me a lot happier and, you know, offers something meaningful to people. Yeah, the camera just cut off. So basically, this is a little bit of my work experience, not all of it, but you know, the highlights of it. And basically, I've come to a point now where financially I'm okay. I'm not really saving anything, but I am able to provide myself with the things that are important to me, like food, like a roof over my head. It's very important for me to live in an area that I like, so that's where the majority of my income goes. It goes into rent. And then what else? Yeah, that's the most of it. I think, and yeah, what else I wanted to say? I wanted to mention that I'm very much satisfied with the life that I can afford for myself. And I actually, to me, it feels like I'm living a life of luxury compared to the life that I used to live anywhere at any other point here in Greece. For the first time ever in this country, I'm living in an area that I really, really like. And I'm really happy with the place that I'm living in. And I'm really happy that I can afford heat in the winter, even though it's not very environmentally friendly. Honestly, since the crisis hit, it's like nobody turns on the heat anymore in the buildings. And it's just, I spend the entire winter like curled up like this. And at some point, I'm gonna get a hump on my back. Like I'm gonna become the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And I don't want that to happen. So I felt really nice this winter, for the first time, just not being frozen to death and like actually being able to stand up straight. So that was awesome. Like, to me, that was luxury. And yeah, what else? I mean, would it be great? Would I love it if I could afford to, like, I don't know, eat out every day? Probably. Yeah, that would be great. I really hate cooking, but it's not so bad. I enjoy the fact that I have enough money, you know, to go on vacation once in a while. And another huge thing that to me is a luxury is the fact that I have full control over my time. And because I'm very strict with myself, so I manage to be disciplined enough to get a lot of work done, but also provide myself with free time, which I think is so important for every single human being to have, and just have enough free time to just relax and do things you enjoy doing, things that not necessarily help you make money, maybe volunteer, like do things with the people you love. Like, humans need more free time, and it kind of frustrates me how the 8-hour work week, what is it called? In general, like the whole concept that humans work up to 8 hours every day, like that's been completely trampled, and workers' rights have been completely trampled, not only in countries like in Asia that are creating all our clothing in sweatshops, working under just what can only be described as slave labor conditions, but also like here in Europe, here in Greece. I mean, workers' rights have been completely trampled. People are working for 10, even 11, 12 hours every day, and they're making nothing, like around €3 an hour. That is just, it's not a decent quality of life when you don't have any time left for yourself and all you're doing is working. And it kind of concerns me that not much is being done to recover these rights. I'm getting a little bit off topic because this isn't, like, workers' rights isn't the topic of this discussion, it's money. But the fact that people, for money, they're really losing their freedom, that is troubling. At the same time, I don't know, maybe what I'm gonna say now is a little bit wrong, but I do think that we have created this sort of need for so many items, so many material items. And not just that, I think Facebook and social media have pushed many of us into wanting to kind of show off a life of luxury and going to expensive travel destinations and just spending money on a lavish lifestyle that many of us cannot afford, just for like showing off basically on Facebook or on Instagram. And I think for me, I can't do that. Like, not I can't do that, like I'm over it, basically. I'm over trying, not trying to show off a lavish lifestyle, but pursuing this lavish lifestyle because I think that that's what I need to be happy. Like, no, I don't need a vacation every 3 months to the Maldives or to some kind of exotic destination in order to be happy. I can spend, at this point, the entire year without really spending much on vacation, like going somewhere nearby and just enjoying that instead. And then like spending so much money on material items, from TVs to dishwashers and washing machines and like electronics and games and so many things that we're spending money on. I mean, I don't even have a TV. That's how minimalist I am with everything other than clothes. I'm not much of a minimalist with clothes. It's all thrifted, but when it comes to everything else, I'm very careful with what I bring into my life. And not because I don't want it, but because I don't need it. Like, I do want a TV, I do want a microwave, but I don't need it that much. And I'll get it at some point if I find it only secondhand. And that's pretty much it. Like, we have created so many needs for ourselves that really we kind of need to rethink the way that we consume. And once we do that, I think there's so much more time, free time left for us, and so much more money left for us. And we can actually learn to work less, earn less, but also be equally happy. That's a little bit controversial, and I don't 100% even agree with my opinion on this, but I do feel like, for me, because I'm not spoiling myself, because I know how to be very minimalist in what I spend my money on, I do earn a very small amount of money for European standards, but at the same time, I get to live a pretty nice, decent quality of life. That being said, though, this isn't a quality of life that I'd be able to live if I had a family. And if, my partner was earning the same amount of money as I am. Raising a child would be impossible with the current amount of money that I'm earning. And this is where things get a little bit problematic, because regardless of the fact that I can personally live a great quality of life with such a small amount of money, if I changed any other factor in my life, then we would have a problem. If I had a child, if I had an illness, if I had a child with an illness, if I had some natural disaster that fucked shit up, then I would definitely be in a lot of trouble financially. And I'm going to ignore all the disastrous stuff, and I'm just going to focus on the child thing. Any country that doesn't help, so I'm kind of an exception because I'm not living off of the Greek minimum wage, but anyone that is would be earning pretty much the same amount of money as I am. Probably, no, they would be earning less than I am, to be honest. And the idea that I'm living in a country that financially makes it impossible for people to have children. Something's happening with the neighbors, but isn't that such a dystopian concept to think about? Children at this point in this country are almost unaffordable. And sure, you can work extra hard to provide for that child, but then you would be taking away from your own experience in life. You would not be able to afford anything for yourself. You would not be able to have any normal, okay quality of life because you're now working extra hard to provide for that child. That's kind of ridiculous. And I know that Greece is not the only country where this is happening. There's a lot of other countries that are suffering in this way. So yeah, that's something to think about, because as great as the fact that I live a frugal life and I get by with very little money is, like, good job me, this is a lifestyle that is only possible if I am a frugal, childless bitch. You know what I'm saying? And that's a problem. So where am I trying to get at here? Let's talk a little bit more about money, though, because the accumulation of money is something that I find very fascinating. And I know people say, like, not all rich people are bad, and I do agree. But just the fact that someone is addicted to accumulating wealth, regardless of, like, just what their gender is, what their skin color is, like, I don't care. I'm not gonna applaud a woman for being a ruthless capitalist that is exploiting workers, destroying the environment, and all that kind of stuff to make money, because that's really where money comes from. Oh, sure, very few people have been lucky enough to accumulate a large amount of money through, morally good means. Through, not exploiting people, through not destroying the environment. But when you look at the the largest companies that exist in this world and the richest people that exist in this world and how they made that money, the majority of them have most definitely not made that money through being good people. They've made it through maximizing their income, through minimizing wages, maximizing capital, complete disregard for the environment, and through basically promoting their products through advertisement, which is a form of brain control, really. I know I sound like super wacky right now saying that, but advertisement is a form of manipulation. If you turn on the TV, you don't see advertisements by the broccoli industry, although I have seen one once, and I was pretty excited about it. But you mostly see advertisements for products that you most definitely do not need. We see advertisements for milk, dairy, for desserts. Almost all of the advertisements are for desserts, treats, snacks, chips, and then for products that you really don't need. Products that are luxury items, basically. In my opinion, I see them as luxury items, but maybe somebody else wouldn't. So mainly the people that are reaching out to us to convince us to buy their products are the people that are creating products that we really do not need in our lives. And that's something to think about. Like, they're making money through creating products that are possibly making us unhealthy, things that have sugar in them. They are making money through creating products like fast fashion clothing that we will wear for just 3-4 times, and after they're washed, 3 times, they turn to shreds. They're not wearable anymore because the quality is so bad. And they do that on purpose so you can go back and buy more products. And the fashion industry is an incredibly destructive industry when it comes to the environment, especially the fast fashion industry. So they're accumulating all this wealth through creating mostly products that are ruining our environment, ruining our health, and emptying our pockets. And one of my favorite movies, I'm such an edgelord, but like Fight Club, this line that you get to see that he talks about in the beginning, like, we spend money we don't have on things we don't need to impress people we don't like. And that is like such a great quote. Basically, I do think that we need to rethink ourselves, what we're spending our money on. But one thing that I think we need to rethink more is our opinions on these people. Because behind these companies that are producing these items, there are people that are profiting massively, that are becoming billionaires, that are building insane fortunes on the wealth that we are giving them through the way that we consume. And we need to kind of a little bit rethink what our opinion is on these people. I think we're still living in a time where being wealthy is very much glamorized, and what I'm saying is I do think it's incredibly controversial. I'm hoping that it's a little less controversial than it was last year and the year before that. And one day I do hope that more people are going to become more aware of the fact that it takes a really sick person to actually get to the point where you're a billionaire, to get to the point where you've exploited so many people to make money and you have hoarded so much wealth that would otherwise be distributed to a much larger amount of people. Because every single cent that somebody is hoarding, that means that somebody else now has less money. Because we, like I said in the beginning of this video, we don't live in a world with infinite resources. So yeah, I don't think that all rich people are evil. And I do think that a lot of people just naturally do try to accumulate more money because they have been taught to idealize this behavior and to consider it something that is morally okay. Personally, I discuss ethics on this channel, and I'm gonna discuss the ethics of accumulation of wealth. And personally, I don't think that accumulation of wealth is something ethical, especially when you're accumulating more than you need. Not especially, exclusively when you're accumulating more than you need. Because if you do need money, if you have a lot of children, obviously you do need more money than I do, because I don't have any children. So the amount of money every person needs is very different, and certain people need more money, and certain people, really like me, I don't need a lot of money. But I don't think that anyone needs $1 billion, euros, whatever. I don't think that anyone needs that much money. And I don't think it's fair for people to be able to accumulate this much. And that's just my opinion. How much time do I have left? I think I should just wrap it up at this point and figure out everything else in the comments, and we can talk about this topic in depth more in the comments, because I've only covered like just the layer of it. But I think the last point that I've concluded in now, that's the most important thing to me, the fact that we are still glamorizing the hoarding of wealth without realizing the consequences that it has, because it's not just something that you can flex about being a rich person. It's something that is actually having a negative effect on the world around us for the most part. Not for everyone, not, like I said, not everyone becomes rich through exploiting, through destroying the environment, and through hoarding wealth. But a lot of people, most people that have become rich, it's been through that. And then the other ones are just because they're heirs to incredibly huge fortunes that were acquired through very much unethical means, either through colonialism, either through slave labor, and either through seizing land and forcing the previous dwellers of that land to pay taxes to live on it. But yeah, this is my opinion on this topic, and I would love to know what everyone else thinks in the comments. I'm absolutely sure that a lot of people are gonna disagree with me on this, but this is an opinion that I did not previously have, and it's something that I've built on through becoming more educated on economics and on politics. And a great book that I would recommend you guys to read. It's not easy to read, but I do recommend it. It's right over there. What is it called? It's by Yanis Varoufakis. He is the ex-finance minister here in Greece. He quit a few years ago, but I don't know him personally, but I know he's very brilliant when it comes to finances. He was an economologist. I'm not sure how to pronounce that in English, but yeah, the book is called "And the Weak Suffer What They Must," and I learned so much from that book. And then I kind of binge watched a lot of his speeches on YouTube. So yeah, check out, if you don't want to get the book, check out Yanis Varoufakis, and just watch videos of his on YouTube. And they're very interesting, very educational, and to me, they're very easy to listen to. Ooh, my stomach is rumbling again. I think it's time to end this video and go eat. So let me know in the comments. I really want to talk about this, and maybe I learn a few more things, and I'm definitely gonna learn a lot more things in the comments. I usually do. So yeah, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. Huge thank you to my patrons, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.